What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is James from Cop Logic, and in the wake of what has been a disappointing week for Liverpool following the defeat at home to Palace and the defeat at home to Atalanta, after decompressing, I've been looking around for some news that isn't about those defeats because, quite frankly, I'm sick of thinking about them and talking about them. And the only real thing that's had any sort of traction lately is this story on Kelleher that I did a short on last week because there wasn't that much information on it. But since then, there has been a little bit more information that we've been able to glean from Lewis Steele, a journalist who covers all of the football in Merseyside from the EFL all the way up to the Premier League, and over a number of different publications, including the Daily Mail and things like that. And he's been talking over the weekend about Kelleher and the situation there. Basically, when the news broke last week that Liverpool had a retained interest in Sunderland's goalkeeper Anthony Patterson as a potential to come in for a goalkeeping spot, what was mentioned was that there was going to be a reshuffle of the goalkeeping department. Now, at the time, as much as people were maybe pointing fingers at Kelleher, I think it's more likely that Adrian does not renew his contract. He leaves the club and Liverpool need to look to fill that slot, and that's what I believe that was. But it does seem like we've had a little bit more news regarding Kelleher that I'm going to jump into now from Lewis Steele. So let's begin with what he said, which was that Liverpool would likely not stand in Kelleher's way this summer should he choose to pursue a number one position move, with Nottingham Forest retaining an interest. And then he went on to say that Liverpool will likely be in the market for a number two goalkeeper this summer. They have retained an interest in Sunderland Anthony Patterson. Now, first of all, I think the important thing to mention here is that this doesn't at all discuss the interests of the player, as in the interest of Kelleher and what he actually wants to do. Obviously, what they're saying here is that Liverpool wouldn't stand in his way if he wanted to leave the club to pursue a number one spot. Now, the first thing to say, obviously, is that if Kelleher wants first team football, he is going to have to leave Liverpool Football Club, because unfortunately for him, there is the small issue of Alisson Becker, the current, in my opinion, best goalkeeper in the world, being the one that's in front of him. And there's no way, it doesn't matter how good you perform when you get your opportunities, and he's had plenty this season, there's no way that he's ever gonna overturn that. So stealing the number one spot from Alisson Becker is relatively impossible for him to do that, and Alisson has got at least a good couple of years left in him, in my opinion. So there's just no chance that Kelleher plays first team football at Liverpool, unfortunately for him. And as I said, if he wants it, then he is going to have to leave. I don't think, this doesn't come as a surprise to me that the club are saying they wouldn't stand in his way if he wanted to leave. I don't think, after everything he's done for us, basically the service that he's given us, that the least he deserves is for us to be amicable if he wishes to leave the club. So I'm fully behind that if he wants to leave, but obviously selfishly I would rather that he stayed, because I think the main talking point to discuss here, which I think probably differs from other clubs, a lot of clubs will have a second choice goalkeeper that, given an opportunity either through injury or through a cup run or whatever, shows their worth and proves themselves to be good enough to be a first team goalkeeper, they'll get a move somewhere, and it's fairly normal for that to happen. The club will go and bring in another number two. But I think the difference with Liverpool is the fact that, unfortunately for us, whilst we do have Alisson Becker as our number one choice, and he is the best goalkeeper in the world, it's almost guaranteed now every season that at some point he's going to have a lengthy spell out due to injury, which is really not ideal for a goalkeeper. I don't think it's unreasonable to expect your first choice goalkeeper to play every single game of a Premier League season. Damn, I just got a text right in the middle of that. That was important, and it's totally derailed my train of thought. It's not unreasonable to expect a first team goalkeeper to play every single game of a Premier League season. Maybe there's a little niggle here and there and they miss a couple of games, but that's your expectation, and your second choice keeper gets the cup runs and things like that until generally you reach an important stage of that competition, and then your first team keeper will come back in. The difference with Liverpool has always been that Kelleher tends to get plenty of time in the Premier League as well, more so this season than ever. He's actually played more games, or they might be equal now actually after the Palace game, but I think he's played one game more than Alisson Becker has this season, which is a shocking stat for a first team goalkeeper. I know it's been a big injury and injuries are unavoidable, but Alisson Becker for a goalkeeper is a fairly injury prone goalkeeper. So my question to you guys would probably be, do you want to let Kelleher go this summer? Would you be happy to do it? Because I think, no one wants to stand in his way, and everyone appreciates that if he wants to be a first team goalkeeper, we'd love to let him and allow him that opportunity. But I think selfishly, We kind of know that we need a goalkeeper capable of the level of performance that Kelleher has shown us this season as our number 2, because there's going to be these periods where we are without Alisson Becker, and it's kind of now expected in the Liverpool season that that's going to happen. I don't think there is any other club in the Premier League that has a second choice keeper as good as Kelleher. Personally, I think he genuinely is good enough to start as a first teamer. Is he as good as Alisson Becker? No, but I don't think that's a slight on Kelleher's performances. There's no goalkeeper that's as good as Alisson Becker at the moment in world football, in my opinion. I think, you know, there are certain games where, I mean, if you look at Liverpool, the time that Alisson Becker spends out on injury, you can potentially lose a title in that period if you don't have a goalkeeper that's good enough to step up to the mark. And I don't think that's what's happened there. Obviously, we fell away this last week, but Alisson Becker was in goal for the Palace game. There are different reasons. It's not a goalkeeper that has cost us any of these points, to be completely honest. You can argue in the Atalanta game that 2 of those goals I do honestly think Alisson Becker would have saved, but I'm not trying to blame Kelleher for any part of this season at all. In fact, quite the opposite. I think his performances have been absolutely exceptional, and they have saved us. Him, along with a number of other players such as Conor Bradley, such as Jarell Kwanzaa, have absolutely kept this title run alive and the run in all the cup competitions, to be honest. I think, you know, one of the key things with Kelleher is Klopp clearly over the last few seasons has offered him the Carabao Cup as his competition, regardless of where we finish, including a final. If we reach the final, he can play in it. And I think that's probably been huge in keeping Kelleher here. My worry is, obviously, Klopp is leaving in the summer. New manager comes in. Does he offer him the same opportunities? I don't know. And if he doesn't, then is Kelleher going to look at a potential move? You know, as I said, you couldn't blame him if he did, but I think we'll suffer massively if we do lose Kelleher. I don't think there are many keepers that would come in, be happy with the number 2 spot and be as good as Kelleher. So I think for me personally, my view on it, and get yourselves down in the comments, let me know what you guys think, but my view is whatever Kelleher wants to stay at Liverpool, give him it. You know, as long as he's happy to be second choice behind Alisson Becker, whatever he wants, if that's the Carabao Cup, then give him the Carabao Cup, however much guaranteed game time he needs, because I think it's super important that we have a keeper as good as him at the club for the reasons that I've, you know, already stated. But the key thing about these articles, and the reason why I don't want to get too worried about it just yet, is one, we're definitely losing Adrian, so we're going to need a new keeper regardless to fill that slot. So us looking for a keeper doesn't necessarily mean panic stations, Kelleher's leaving. And 2, it doesn't actually mention anything about Kelleher and his personal wishes. Of course, it's saying that the club wouldn't stand in his way if he wants to leave, but the important thing is, does he want to leave? We don't know at this stage. Not everyone that gets into football has these visions of becoming the next Lionel Messi or the next Cristiano Ronaldo, and equally with Kelleher. He may not have these grand ideas of going on and being the goalkeeper that wins, you know, a Champions League or something. I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make is, if he's happy at Liverpool, if his family, his girlfriend are settled in Liverpool and they don't necessarily want to uproot and go somewhere else or whatever, if he's happy with the role that he's playing in this club, and it is a huge role, you know, he's actually won us cups, you know, the Carabao Cup twice now, and, you know, he had a massive role to play in the one a couple of years ago with the penalty shootout. He is a huge factor in this Liverpool squad at the moment. I don't think you can take that away from him, and I think if he is happy in that role, and he may well be, then there may be no issue here, and we keep Kelleher into the new season, into, you know, the new era with this new manager. And I hope that is the case. Selfishly, I hope that is the case, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. The story generally is Liverpool are looking at another goalkeeper, and they will not stand in the way of Kelleher if he does decide to leave. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think. What would you do in the summer? Would you let Kelleher leave? Or like me, do you think we desperately need to hold on to him? Get your thoughts down below. Make sure you like the video if you have enjoyed it, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date on all the transfer news going on with Liverpool Football Club. I mean, it's going to ramp up as we approach the summer. Of course, the summer transfer window coming up, this new era with a new manager, and all the news on that as well will be coming to you guys via this channel. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.